Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood updates here. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos, especially if you're a true Twilight fan, because today we're peeling back the curtain on one of the most iconic and controversial movie franchises of all time. Whether you are Team Edward, Team Jacob, or just Team Let Bella make a decision already, we're diving into the forgotten truths, on-set drama, and hauntingly weird moments that define the Twilight Saga. Behind the scenes, from the robotic Renesmee baby that gave everyone nightmares to Kristen Stewart nearly being replaced, this video is packed with secrets the cast and crew probably wish we'd forget. So grab a snack, dim the lights, and get ready, because the truth behind Twilight is darker than you think. Back in the mid-2000s, no one expected Twilight to become a cultural phenomenon, not even Summit Entertainment. Based on Stephen E. Meyer's best-selling novel, the original film was made on a modest budget of $37 million, a gamble for a supernatural teen romance, with an unknown cast and a female director, Catherine Hardwicke, in the big chair. Hollywood didn't believe in it. In fact, studios had rejected the script over and over, demanding changes like making Bella a track star and turning the vampires into secret agents. Yes, really, Meyer held her ground. Thankfully, Kristen Stewart was cast after a nationwide search. Chosen for her brooding intensity, Robert Pattinson was discovered through a DVD of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. But did you know he was almost fired before filming even began? His take on Edward Cullen was too intense. The studio said he wasn't smiling enough, he wasn't sexy enough. They almost replaced him, until Hardwicke told him to lighten up, and Pattinson agreed. That smile, it wasn't natural. It was forced to keep his job. Once the first film exploded into a box office juggernaut, everything changed, and not necessarily for the better. The Twilight fandom was obsessive, relentless, and sometimes terrifying. Kristen Stewart admitted that she felt hunted. Robert Pattinson said he was scared of fans and couldn't walk the streets. Taylor Lautner gained 30 pounds of muscle to keep his role in New Moon and was only 16 at the time. Imagine the pressure. And speaking of New Moon, it had one of the strangest behind-the-scenes facts. The studio considered recasting Jacob Black because they didn't think Lautner looked strong enough to portray the werewolf transformation. Lautner proved them wrong, with protein shakes and sheer willpower. But the price was high. Behind the glamour was exhaustion, tension, and isolation. The cast wasn't allowed to live normal lives anymore. They were stalked, mobbed at airports, and treated like characters instead of people. Kristen Stewart has spoken about how those years were some of the hardest of her life, even as the world saw her as one of Hollywood's luckiest stars. Filming Twilight wasn't a dream. It was often a nightmare. The original film's baseball scene, now iconic, was shot in pouring rain with freezing temperatures. The cast was soaked, miserable, and bruised from the wirework, used to simulate superhuman movement. Pattinson pulled a muscle, trying to catch Kristen Stewart in one take, and insisted they do another until it looked romantic enough. In Eclipse, the mountain scene nearly ended in disaster. Filming on a mountaintop in near-freezing weather, Kristen was wrapped in thermal gear, while Robert had to look ice-cold in a thin jacket. Their lips turned blue between takes. That awkward tent scene with Jacob, Edward, and Bella. It was even more awkward off-camera, as Taylor Lautner had to strip shirtless while cast, and crew stood around shivering, but nothing, and we mean nothing, compares to the horror that was the robot Renesmee baby. During Breaking Dawn Part 1, producers decided to use a robotic baby to portray the rapidly growing daughter of Bella and Edward. The result? a mechanical nightmare with lifeless eyes, clunky movements, and the emotional range of a broken toaster. Cast and crew nicknamed her Chuckasmee, a nod to the killer doll Chucky. Director Bill Condon eventually scrapped the robot and replaced it with CGI, but not before it traumatized the actors. Even hardened crew members said the doll was the creepiest thing they'd ever seen. It was supposed to represent love and innocence. Instead, it looked like a cursed object from a horror film. You'd think working together for 5 years would bond people forever, but Twilight had its tensions. While the core trio maintained a professional front, rumors of jealousy, awkward relationships, and creative differences were common. Pattinson often mocked the dialogue, calling it nonsense. In interviews, Lautner tried to stay upbeat, but admitted the fame made him uncomfortable. And Kristen Stewart's private relationship with Pattinson became tabloid fodder, especially after her very public cheating scandal. Other cast members opened up after the fact. Nikki Reed, Rosalie, hinted at cliques on set. Ashley Greene, Alice, revealed the women were paid far less than the male leads. Kellen Lutz, Emmett, said he felt overlooked, despite doing most of his own stunts. Behind the smiles at premieres were real frustrations. The Twilight family wasn't always so picture perfect. Years after Breaking Dawn Part 2, the cast has spoken candidly about the experience. Some are proud of their involvement. Others have mixed feelings. Kristen Stewart says she wouldn't take back her time as Bella, but she wishes she'd had more control over how the character was written. Robert Pattinson has grown to accept the franchise, even joking about it in recent interviews, but he admits it boxed him in early in his career. Taylor Lautner stepped away from acting for years, tired of the spotlight. He only recently re-emerged, talking openly about the anxiety and body image issues that came with being a teen sex symbol. None of them regret the success, but all of them agree Twilight changed their lives forever, and not always for the better. Despite its critics, Twilight has remained a massive force in pop culture. The books still sell, the movies are binge-watched endlessly, and the rise of platforms like TikTok and Netflix has introduced the franchise to a whole new generation. Fan fiction like 50 Shades of Grey, which began as Twilight-inspired writing, became its own billion-dollar beast. Even Stephen E. Meyer released Midnight Sun, the Twilight story from Edward's perspective, reigniting interest in the saga. In a world filled with darker, grittier reboots, Twilight stands as a unique time capsule, a mix of innocence, obsession, cringe, and magic. Fans laugh now at some of the over-the-top drama and sparkling vampires, but deep down, the love remains. So what's the truth about Twilight? It's not just a love story about vampires and werewolves. It's a story about fame, pressure, mistakes, and redemption. It launched careers, created billion-dollar empires, and sparked global obsession. But behind the glittering eyes and passionate stares were real people facing real struggles. And the fans, they weren't just watching, they were living it, too. Whether you loved it or hated it, Twilight made you feel something. And that's why it endures. The secrets behind the saga make it more than a guilty pleasure. They make it human. Thank you for watching Daily Gossip. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into your favorite stars and stories. Until next time, keep sparkling, just maybe not in the sunlight. So, what's the truth about Twilight? It's not just a love story about vampires and werewolves. It's a story about fame, pressure, mistakes, and redemption. It launched careers, created billion-dollar empires, and sparked global obsession. But behind the glittering eyes and passionate stares were real people, facing real struggles. And the fans, they weren't just watching, they were living it too. Whether you loved it or hated it, Twilight made you feel something. And that's why it endures. The secrets behind the saga make it more than a guilty pleasure. They make it human. Thank you for watching Daily Gossip. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into your favorite stars and stories. Until next time, keep sparkling, just maybe not in the sunlight. So what's the truth about Twilight? It's not just a love story about vampires and werewolves. It's a story about fame, pressure, mistakes, and redemption. It launched careers, created billion-dollar empires, and sparked global obsession. But behind the glittering eyes and passionate stares were real people facing real struggles. And the fans? They weren't just watching, they were living it too. Whether you loved it or hated it, Twilight made you feel something. And that's why it endures. The secrets behind the saga make it more than a guilty pleasure. They make it human. Thank you for watching Daily Gossip. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into your favorite stars and stories. Until next time, keep sparkling, just maybe not in the sunlight.